How my friend tried to sabotage my happiness. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. My best friend stared at the screenshots and whispered, "You weren't supposed to find out." That sentence has been echoing in my head for 3 days straight. I'm Eric, 29, project coordinator at a small mental health nonprofit. After a decade of anxiety attacks and dead-end jobs, I finally felt like I'd won a little slice of happiness. Work that mattered, a stable routine, and a relationship with someone who actually saw me, Jordan. And right in the middle of all that stood Mia, my best friend since we were teenagers, the person I trusted with every messy detail of my life. 10 minutes before that whisper, I thought we were just meeting for coffee. I'd texted her, "We need to talk. It's important." My hands shook as I waited in the corner booth, thumb hovering over the folder of screenshots on my phone. Group chats, DMs, emails, pieces of a puzzle I wasn't ready to see as a full picture until it was already too late. When Mia slid into the seat across from me, she still felt familiar. Messy bun, chipped black nail polish, oversized hoodie from our college days. She smiled like nothing was wrong. "You look like you haven't slept in a week," she joked, punching my shoulder lightly. "Jordan keeping you up?" Normally I would have laughed. Instead, I unlocked my phone, opened the first screenshot, and turned the screen toward her. It was a message she'd sent to Jordan 2 months ago. "I'm really worried about Eric. He lies a lot when he's spiraling. Don't tell him I said this." Her face drained of color so fast, it was almost funny. Almost. I didn't say anything. I just started swiping, DM after DM, her name on every sent by line, my reputation shredded in every paragraph. By the time she whispered, "You weren't supposed to find out," I realized my happiness hadn't just been fragile. Someone I loved had been quietly taking a hammer to it. In that moment, I still didn't know just how far Mia's sabotage had already spread. If you'd asked me a year ago who I trusted most, I would have said, Mia, obviously, without even thinking. We met in high school detention, bonding over bad music and worse cafeteria pizza. She was the loud one. I was the anxious one. She'd shove me into new experiences, open mics, parties, random road trips, and then be the one holding my hair back when my panic attacks hit halfway through. When my dad walked out, she slept on my floor for 3 nights straight. When she failed a class in college, I stayed up editing her essays. Our friendship was this messy, codependent knot we both pretended was just ride or die. Looking back, there were small moments that should have made me pause. Like junior year, when I got cast as lead in the school play and she joked, "Guess they needed someone to cry on command," in front of everyone. Or when I landed my job at the nonprofit and she said, "Cute. A real adult job is next, right?" With that bright, too wide smile. But there was one recent moment that keeps replaying. It was the night I introduced her to Jordan properly, not just as a friend from work, but as my partner. We were at this tiny rooftop bar, fairy lights everywhere, city humming below. I went to order drinks, left them alone for maybe 5 minutes. When I came back, Mia laughed and said, "Don't worry, Jordan. This is just Eric's happy phase. He gets obsessed with things and then burns out. We'll be here to pick up the pieces." They both laughed, but Jordan's eyes flickered, just for a second. In the moment, I told myself she was just being classic Mia, brutally honest, a little too sharp. I brushed it off, because that's what you do when your oldest friend makes you bleed with a smile. I didn't understand that her jokes were just practice shots for something much, much worse. The first red flag I actually noticed was stupidly small. It was a Friday night, and Sam from work texted, "Sorry you couldn't make it. We missed you." I stared at my phone, confused. I was at home in sweatpants, watching a documentary with Jordan, because Mia had told me the team hangout got canceled. I typed back, didn't know it was still on. Mia said it was off. Sam replied after a minute. "She said you were exhausted and probably wouldn't come anyway." I felt this tiny crack of something in my chest. Still, I rationalized it. Maybe Mia was just trying to protect my energy. Maybe she misunderstood. I didn't want to be dramatic, especially when things finally seemed okay for once. Then came the missed call from my manager, Lauren. When I saw it Monday morning, she waved it off in the hallway. "No worries," she said. "Mia told me you weren't feeling up to leading the community workshop anyway. We'll reschedule." I hadn't said that. That night I confronted Mia gently over FaceTime. "Hey, can you please not speak for me about work stuff?" Lauren mentioned. She cut me off with a laugh. Oh my God, relax. I was just trying to save you from overcommitting again. You're always stressed, Eric. Someone has to look out for you. Her tone made me feel childish for even bringing it up. So I apologized. Yeah, okay. I want to be included, you know? Babe, she said, rolling her eyes affectionately. No one is excluding you. You're just insecure because things are going well. Trust me, I know you. I hung up feeling weirdly guilty, like I'd accused her of something cruel instead of asking for basic respect. But then the weird comments from others, phase began, and pretending not to notice got a lot harder. Because people kept saying, I'm sorry you're struggling so much, before I'd told them anything at all. The escalation happened at what should have been one of the happiest moments of my year. Our nonprofit had just landed a small grant for a pilot program I designed. Lauren asked me to present it at a community networking event. Local orgs, potential donors, volunteers. I spent 2 weeks obsessively tweaking slides, rehearsing in front of Jordan and Mia like it was a TED Talk. The night of the event, Mia insisted on coming for moral support. She wore this sleek black dress that made her look like she belonged on a panel, not in the audience. I'll be your hype woman, she said, looping her arm through mine as we walked into the banquet hall. 10 minutes before I was supposed to speak, Lauren pulled me aside. Hey, she said softly. If you're not ready, we can let someone else present. It's okay. My stomach dropped. Not ready? I've been working on this for weeks. She frowned. Mia told me you'd had a bad episode last night and were barely sleeping. She said you were terrified of messing this up. There it was again, Mia speaking for me, painting me as fragile, unstable. My cheeks burned. I'm fine. I can do this. Lauren hesitated, then nodded. Okay, just know we support you, whatever happens. I walked back to the table and sat down beside Mia, my heart pounding. What did you tell Lauren? I hissed under my breath. She sipped her drink, eyes on the stage. Oh, relax. I said you'd been anxious, which is true. I wanted her to go easy on you. That's not your call, I said, voice shaking. Stop telling people I'm falling apart. She finally looked at me, expression flat. If you don't want people worried, maybe stop being so close to breaking all the time. The words hit me harder than any panic attack ever had. I still went up on stage. I still presented. Halfway through, my slides froze, and the room chuckled while text scrambled. My hands shook so badly I had to grip the podium. I saw Mia in the audience, tilting her head sympathetically, whispering to the person beside her. Later that night, as we were leaving, I overheard one of the donors tell Lauren, "It's admirable that you keep someone like him in such a big role. Mia said he's really struggling." That was the first time I wondered if Mia's version of me was becoming more real to other people than I was. And that same night, Jordan asked a question that made my stomach twist into something unrecognizable. We were back at my apartment, dress shoes kicked off, my tie hanging loose around my neck. I was still replaying the event in my mind, every stumble magnified. Jordan set 2 mugs of tea on the coffee table and sat across from me instead of beside me, which was my first clue something was off. You did well, they said, voice soft. The room liked you. Sure, I muttered. They liked the anxious charity case. Jordan frowned. No one said that. I hesitated. I heard a donor mention that Lauren was keeping someone like me in a big role, and apparently Mia told them I'm struggling. Jordan's gaze flicked away. She's just worried about you, Eric. She told me you've been more unstable than you admit. My chest tightened. What exactly did she tell you? They sighed. That sometimes you lie about things, about how bad it is, about drinking, about your finances. That she's covered for you when you've ghosted people. She said she's scared you're going to self-destruct and take everyone down with you. I stared at them, stunned. That's not true. I mean, I've had rough patches, sure, but I've been doing better for a year now. You know that. I know what I see, Jordan said gently, but I also know Mia's been there longer. She knows patterns I don't. There it was. Not just co-workers and donors. My partner, the person who saw me fall asleep on the couch and wake up at 3 a.m. to answer emails, was starting to see me through Mia's lens. I tried to laugh it off. You believe her over me? It's not about believing her over you, they said. It's just, when the stories don't line up, I don't know what's real. My brain scrambled, trying to remember every time I'd vented to Mia about Jordan, every joke I'd made in frustration. What had she repeated? Twisted? Performed? For the first time, a thought crept in that I immediately tried to shove away. If Mia was protecting everyone from me, what if she was really just protecting her version of me? I went to sleep that night next to someone I loved, feeling lonelier than I had in years. The clue that finally cracked my denial came in the form of a misdirected text. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was at my desk, slogging through a grant report, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Mia in our chat labeled Chaos Goblins, with me, Mia, and Jordan. Or so I thought. The preview read, "He believes everything I say. It's honestly scary how easy it is." Confused, I opened it fully and realized, a heartbeat too late, that it wasn't our group chat. It was supposed to go to someone named Mia plus Liz, but she'd accidentally sent it to me and Jordan instead. Another bubble appeared immediately. Wrong chat. Ignore that. My fingers went numb. I stared at the screen, feeling like the floor had dropped out beneath me. I typed, "Who are you talking about?" Even though I already knew. 3 dots. Then, Eric, obviously. But it was a joke. Calm down. Jordan hadn't replied yet, but I saw their little typing indicator flash and disappear. My stomach flipped. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it over the office noise. I texted back, "Call me." She called within seconds, voice breathless. "Okay, that looked bad, but..." "Who's Liz?" I interrupted. "Just a friend from my gym," she said quickly. "We were talking about how you're finally listening to people about your mental health. I said it's scary how easy it is to get you to take care of yourself now." It was clumsy wording. I stared at the wall. "You said believes everything I say. That's not about me taking care of myself, Mia." She exhaled loudly. "You're twisting it. You are paranoid lately. This is what I mean when I tell people I'm worried." Something in me snapped a little at that. "When you tell who you're worried?" Silence. Then, coolly, "I'm allowed to talk about my feelings, Eric." After we hung up, I sat there frozen, the text burned into my retinas. Later that day, Sam swung by my desk, dropped off some reports, and lingered. "Hey," they said casually, "can I ask you something kind of weird?" Even before they finished the question, I felt dread pooling in my stomach like cold lead. Sam pulled a chair up to my desk, their voice low. "Has Mia ever said anything to you about me? Or about the team?" I blinked. "Not really. Why?" They scratched the back of their neck. "Okay, this might sound messy, but she's been DMing me a lot. Little things, like Eric's overwhelmed. Can you take that task? Or don't invite him to drinks. He's having a rough week." I just assumed you knew. "No, I thought." "No, I absolutely did not know." Aloud, I said carefully, "She hasn't mentioned that to me." Sam nodded slowly. "Yeah, that's what I figured. It got weirder, though. Last month, she told me you're considering quitting, that you're burned out. And yesterday, she said you might cancel the volunteer training because your episodes are back." My mouth went dry. "I never said that. Any of that." "I kind of guessed," Sam said. "I've seen you show up on time, stay late, do the work. So I started taking screenshots, just in case. I didn't want to accuse anyone without proof." They opened their phone, scrolling through a chat with Mia. I watched line after line of messages roll past, my name highlighted like a warning label. "He's really not okay. Please don't confront him. He'll just shut down. I'm the only one he listens to anyway." It was like reading a character bio for someone I'd never met, but was somehow playing in everyone else's heads. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked, voice hoarse. Sam hesitated. "Because last week, she told me Jordan was thinking of breaking up with you because of your lying. And when I bumped into Jordan at the coffee shop, they looked confused when I mentioned it. Something didn't add up." I swallowed hard. "Thank you for saving those." They gave me a sympathetic look. "I don't know what's going on, but, Eric, I think Mia is saying very different things to very different people." As they walked away, I opened my own chat with Mia, scrolling back months, connecting dots I'd refused to see. The pattern was starting to form, and it looked a lot like a trap I'd walked into with my eyes closed. Once I started looking, the breadcrumbs were everywhere. Old texts where Mia forgot to pass along invites, screenshots from mutual friends saying, "Mia said you were swamped, so we didn't bother asking." DMs where she'd replied to people as me when I'd been offline, the tone off just enough that I felt a chill reading them. There was a message to an old hookup of mine, sent from my account while I was on a digital detox weekend. "I'm not in a place for anything serious. You knew that." I never wrote that. She must have logged into my laptop while she was Netflixing at my place and just decided to speak for me. I dug through social media, emails, even old voice notes. The picture sharpened with every click. Mia telling my cousin, "Eric's too anxious to travel. Don't pressure him to visit." Mia telling a coworker, "He's embarrassed about his relapse. Don't mention drinking around him." Mia telling Jordan, months ago, "He lies to protect your feelings. I just want you prepared." Every conversation, every relationship had her fingerprints on it. I remembered all the times she'd framed herself as the bridge between me and the rest of the world. "You're bad at people," she'd say. "Let me translate you." I'd thought that was devotion. Now it felt like control. The mini twist hit me one night when I was cross-referencing dates. I noticed that every time something good happened, my promotion, hitting 6 months sober, Jordan and I talking about moving in, there was a spike in Mia's concerns about me to other people. Sam even had a screenshot. The day after I posted a photo of Jordan and me at the lake, Mia had written, "He's love bombing. It'll crash like all his phases." It wasn't just passive worry. It was a campaign. Quiet, consistent, with just enough truth sprinkled in to sound believable. She wasn't just talking about my spirals, she was helping build them. And as horrifying as that was, I still didn't know why my best friend would need me broken to feel okay. I booked an emergency session with Dr. Reyes the next morning. She'd been my therapist for about a year, helping me untangle old trauma, teaching me how to communicate without either shutting down or exploding. I walked into her office clutching my phone like a weapon, every screenshot a bullet I didn't know where to aim. After I unloaded everything, she sat quietly for a moment, hands folded. "Eric," she said finally, "you've described a pattern of undermining, control, and triangulation. Have you ever considered that this might be emotional abuse?" The word felt too big, like it belonged to worse stories than mine. "She's my friend," I protested weakly. "She was there when no one else was." "Abusers aren't always obvious villains," Dr. Reyes said gently. "Sometimes they are deeply wounded people who feel safest when you are dependent on them. If you grow, they lose control." I swallowed hard. "So what do I do? Call her out? Cut her off?" "That's the part one can't decide for you," she said. "But whatever you choose, you need to prioritize your safety, emotional and social. If you confront her alone, she may gaslight you. If you expose her publicly, there will be fallout." I left with my head spinning and a note on my phone titled, "Plan." Under it, I listed steps. Collect everything, screenshots, dates, names. Talk to Jordan and Sam separately with proof. Decide on confrontation setting, private first, then group if needed. Prepare for her to deny, cry, or blame me. That night, I sat with Jordan at our kitchen table, the glow of my laptop throwing weird shadows on our faces. I showed them the messages, watched their expression shift from confusion to anger to something like grief. "I had no idea she was saying all this," Jordan whispered. "I thought she was protecting you. Protecting us." "Me too," I said. "That's what makes it so disgusting." Jordan squeezed my hand. "Whatever you decide to do, I'm with you. But you need to know, once this comes out, things will never go back to how they were." I nodded, feeling my throat tighten. I was only just beginning to understand how much I'd lose by finally telling the truth about Mia. Mia sensed the shift almost immediately. She started texting more often, little check-ins that felt like probes. "You've been quiet, everything okay? Jordan weird lately? Are we good, or did I do something?" Each message was laced with just enough concern to make me feel guilty for screening her calls. Then came Lena's birthday dinner. Lena is my older sister, perpetually suspicious of everyone I date, but genuinely fond of Mia. We were all meeting at a cozy Italian place downtown. Family, Jordan, a couple of my coworkers. Mia volunteered to help me not be awkward, which was ironic, considering. I decided to go. Dr. Reyes had warned me. Abusers often test limits when they feel control slipping. Pay attention. At the restaurant, Mia was in full performance mode. She hugged my mom, charmed my dad, complimented Jordan's shirt. Every time I caught her eye, she gave me a wounded puppy look, like I'd already accused her of murder. Halfway through dinner, when the noise swelled and wine loosened tongues, she leaned over to Jordan. "I'm so glad you're sticking by him," she said loudly enough for me to hear. Most people would have bailed by now. I set my fork down. "By now what?" I asked, my voice steady but cold. She blinked innocently. Oh, just, with everything you're going through. The table quieted. My mom frowned. What is he going through? Mia's eyes widened theatrically. Oh, I thought you knew. Forget I said anything. This is his story to tell. I felt heat rush to my face. Stop it, I said. If you're going to imply something, say it. She looked hurt. Eric, I'm just trying to support you. You've been so unstable lately, Anne. Jordan cut in sharply. He hasn't. You've been saying that, Mia. Those aren't the same thing. Her eyes flickered, just for a second, to Jordan's phone on the table. I realized then she knew they'd seen the screenshots. And in that tiny, tense silence, I understood that the pretending phase was officially over for both of us. The next morning, Mia showed up at my apartment unannounced. I opened the door to find her standing there with a bag of takeout and a forced smile. Truce breakfast, she said. Last night was weird. I hate this distance between us. Against my better judgment, I let her in. We sat at the table, styrofoam containers between us, the air thick with unsaid things. She started before I could. I feel like you're mad at me for caring, she said, eyes glassy. Ever since Jordan came around, you've been different. And now Sam's acting weird too. I'm losing everyone because I tried to help. I looked at her for a long moment. Helping would have meant asking me what I needed, I said quietly. Not telling everyone I'm unstable behind my back. Her face hardened. That's what this is about. Gossip? Eric, you've been a mess for years. I've cleaned up after you so many times. I'm allowed to vent. My hands shook, but I'd rehearsed this. Venting is saying he stressed me out today, not he lies about relapsing when I haven't touched a drink in a year. Venting is not logging into my accounts and speaking as me. Her jaw clenched. You're paranoid. I picked up my phone, opened the folder labeled Mia Receipts, and slid it across the table. Then explain these. She scrolled, her mask cracking with each message. You saved all this? She whispered. You've been spying on me? It's not spying when people send me screenshots because they're worried, I said. You've been rewriting my life in real time, Mia? Why? Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice was icy. Because someone has to be honest about you. You romanticize yourself, and everyone else buys it. I just balance it out. I realized with a cold jolt that in her mind, she wasn't the villain. She was the narrator, and I was the unreliable side character. That was the moment I made my decision. I'm done having this conversation privately, I said. We're talking about it with everyone you've involved. Tonight. Her head snapped up. What do you mean, with everyone? And in her widening eyes, I saw, for the first time, real fear of losing control. I created a new group chat that afternoon, clearing the air. I added Jordan, Sam, my sister Lena, my manager Lauren, and finally, Mia. My first message was simple. There's been a lot said about me lately, often without me present. Tonight at 7 p.m., I'd like us to all get on a video call and talk honestly. I'll share what I've found. No yelling, just truth. Jordan responded, I'm in. Sam, absolutely. Lena, if this is about what Mia hinted at, I want clarity. Lauren, I can join for 30 minutes. Transparency is important. Mia waited 10 agonizing minutes before replying. This is dramatic, Eric. But sure. At 7 p.m., little rectangles filled my laptop screen. People I cared about, looking curious, worried, tired. Mia logged in last, camera angled low, shadows hiding half her face. I took a deep breath. Thank you for being here, I began. I know this is uncomfortable. I can't keep guessing what version of me is walking around in your heads. I shared my screen and opened the folder. The first screenshot, Mia telling Lauren I was considering quitting. I never said that, I said. Lauren, did you know this was news to me? Lauren frowned. I assumed you told me at first. Next screenshot, Mia telling Jordan I'd lied about drinking again 3 months ago. I haven't relapsed, I said. Jordan, you know I've been open about that. Jordan nodded slowly, eyes on Mia. I believed you had, because she sounded so sure. Third screenshot, Mia telling Sam I was too unstable for more responsibility at work. Fourth, Mia logging into my account to decline a social invite. Fifth, her message to my cousin about me being too anxious to travel. Each image was a brick, and by the time I was done, there was a wall between Mia and everyone else on the call. Finally, I stopped screen sharing. Mia, I said, voice shaking but clear. You've been speaking for me for months, maybe years. You've told different stories to different people. I want to hear, in front of everyone. Why? She stared at the camera, tears streaming now, but her voice was sharp. Because you're a liar, she snapped. You paint yourself as this recovered, stable hero. I've seen you at your worst. I didn't want them blindsided when you inevitably collapsed. That's not your decision, Sam said quietly. You don't get to sabotage him because you're scared. Mia's expression twisted. Oh, please. You're all acting like I'm some monster. I kept his secrets for years. I sacrificed my time, my mental health. You also made sure we all saw him as broken, even when he wasn't, Jordan interrupted. For a second, no one spoke. And then Lena asked the question that finally ripped the last mask off Mia's face. Were you ever actually happy for him? Lena asked, voice flat. For any of it? The job, the relationship, the recovery? Mia's face crumpled, not into guilt, but into rage. You all dropped me the second he stopped being a disaster, she spat. Do you know what it's like to be needed that much and then not? He got his little perfect life, and suddenly I was just the messy friend. The cautionary tale. Her words hit like a slap. Jordan inhaled sharply. Sam looked away. So you tried to drag him back down, Lena said. So he'd need you again. That's not. Mia began, then stopped. Her shoulders sagged. I didn't want to lose him, she whispered. When he's happy, he doesn't call as much. He doesn't need rides at 2 a.m. He doesn't need me to talk him down from bridges. You all replaced me with his healthy coping mechanisms. Dr. Reyes's voice echoed in my head. Some people only know how to love you when you're broken. My eyes stung. So you decided if you couldn't be the hero, you'd be the narrator, I said. You'd control the story instead. Mia looked at me through the pixelated graying. I kept you alive, she said. You think Jordan could handle your worst? Or Sam? Or your boss? They liked the sanitized version. I liked all of you, even when you were unbearable. And yet you made sure no one else got the chance to, I replied. Lauren cleared her throat. From a professional standpoint, I need to say this. Speaking about an employee's mental health behind their back, especially inaccurately, is inappropriate. I'll be following up on that. Sam nodded. And from a friend standpoint, I'm done letting you use my concern as a weapon. Jordan's voice was quiet but firm. If you ever contact me about Eric again, it better be because he asked you to. Mia laughed once, bitterly. So that's it. You're all just going to write me off as the villain? No, I said. You wrote yourself that way with every lie you told. I ended the call before she could respond, hands shaking, heart racing. The silence afterward was almost deafening. I'd finally blown up the illusion that had defined my entire adult life, and I had no idea what pieces would still be standing tomorrow. The days after the call felt like wandering through an emotional aftershock zone. Jordan and I spent a lot of time just sitting. On the couch, in the kitchen, on walks around the neighborhood. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. The air between us felt fragile but real, like crystal mended with gold. I'm sorry I believed her so easily, Jordan said one night, head on my shoulder. I should have trusted what I saw over what she said. I should have noticed sooner, I replied. I handed her the narrator role and then wondered why my story felt wrong. At work, Lauren scheduled a private meeting. She apologized for acting on Mia's words without checking in with me first. We'll be more careful about boundaries going forward, she said. If you ever feel someone is misrepresenting you here, you come to me. Sam became my unexpected anchor. They'd swing by my desk with bad jokes and worse coffee, and when I got quiet, they didn't push. You're allowed to grieve a friendship even if that friend hurt you, they reminded me. Losing Mia is still a loss. I went back to Dr. Reyes and told her everything. We worked on untangling my idea of loyalty from my tolerance for harm. I started journaling again, not just about disasters, but about small victories. Answering emails on time, cooking with Jordan, laughing without bracing for a punchline. I blocked Mia on everything after she sent a series of long, oscillating messages, apologies slipping into accusations, fond memories weaponized as proof I owed her forgiveness. My thumb hovered over the block button longer than I'd like to admit. Then I pressed it and exhaled like I'd been underwater for months. Healing wasn't dramatic. It was boring, repetitive choices. Not checking her socials, not asking mutual friends about her, not rewriting history to make it easier to miss her. Slowly, my life started to feel like mine again. And then, Just when things began to stabilize, something unexpected slipped under my apartment door. It was a plain white envelope, no return address, slid halfway under my door like a bad cliché. Jordan found it first, setting it on the table with a wary look. "It doesn't have her handwriting," they said, already reading my mind. "Could be anything. You don't have to open it." But of course I did. My hands trembled slightly as I tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper, no letterhead, just typed text. It wasn't from Mia. It was from Liz, the person she'd meant to text that day. She'd signed her full name, even added her phone number at the bottom. In neat, straightforward paragraphs, she wrote that she'd recently cut ties with Mia after seeing a pattern. She apologized for laughing at jokes she now realized were red flags, for listening to stories about me that were half-truths at best. "I thought you should know," she wrote, "that she tells the same kind of stories about everyone she feels might leave her. It was never just you." Weirdly, that helped. Not because it minimized what Mia had done, but because it confirmed something Dr. Reyes had said. Her behavior is about her wounds, not your worth. I folded the letter carefully and slid it into a folder with my other documents, not as evidence anymore, but as a reminder. A reminder that I am allowed to protect the life I've built, even from people who once saved me. Now, when I think about happiness, it's quieter than it used to be. It's Jordan's laugh in the morning when I burn the toast. It's Sam sending me a meme about HR-approved drama. It's me closing my laptop at 6 p.m. instead of doom-scrolling through other people's catastrophes. If you're listening to this and you feel that creeping dread that your best friend is always there when things go wrong, but strangely absent or uncomfortable when things go right, pay attention. Look at patterns, not just apologies. Save screenshots if you need to. Talk to the people they've warned about you. You are not ungrateful or cruel for choosing your peace over someone else's control.